In this video, I'll be running through the biggest issue that I see with sub $1 million brands, and that's that they do not have product market fit, but they are acting within paid media as if they do have product market fit. And now, for context, we very rarely work with brands that are doing sub $1 million per year, and the simple reason for that is that there isn't enough profit contribution in a business of this size to be able to sustain employees or to be able to sustain external partner, whether that's for SEO paid, it doesn't matter. There's not enough profit to really sustain a partnership without being under significant financial pressure. And so sub $1 million brands either require external capital or they require staying incredibly lean with just the founders operating within the business. Now, when it comes to a $1 million brand, what often ends up being the case is that the founder will come up with a product idea and try to fit that product idea to the market. But the reality is that the market decides whether the product fits the market. It's not the other way around. This is the direction in which the market operates, not that you generate a product and try to force it onto the market. And this concept also exists within branding. And this is the most important part of this video that I'm trying to get to, which is that people will come with a generic product that is already sold by a lot of people, which is generally a good idea because the product's already proven to fit. People buy this product anyway. And so you're going to come in with a better version in some capacity. And that better version might just be in the form of slightly different marketing and branding and the way that you're positioning that particular product. And so you come up with this branding and you try to force it onto the market and you don't grow. And what that tells me is that the market is the one that dictates the brand. The brand doesn't dictate the market. And so if your brand isn't fitting into the market, it often means that there needs to be a fundamental shift in your current approach to branding. And so let me give you a really simple example of this. Let's pull in a product here. So let's pull in tea, for example. So you decide you want to sell tea. Now, everyone sells tea. It's a billion-dollar industry, tea, arguably maybe more. So there's product market fit already. You know that people buy tea. The product does fit the market. But why will people buy yours, right? There's existing brands that are way more popular, have way more marketing spend behind them. There needs to be some kind of value proposition that's going to make you separate from people. Now, the value proposition might be that your tea's better, but that's going to be probably very hard to sell and resonate. And so you're going to associate some kind of unique market fit or unique branding to this product. And that might be that you go and angle this towards improving sleep. And now, once again, that's still pretty generic. It's going to be hard to compete, but improving sleep just for men. And so now you're quite specific. Okay, you're selling tea that might be quite affordable, just as affordable as your current tea, but this particular tea is going to improve sleep for men. And so now this is much more likely to actually hit with a very specific market, specific target demographic, and you're niching down quite well. You don't want to go after the entire market over a single product out of the gates. You just don't have the capital behind you to be able to do so at scale. And so you need to choose a very specific niche, and that has been done quite effectively in this case. Now you go and you run this and you start spending on paid media, you start doing other marketing related activities, you obviously dial in conversion rate on the website, you're doing all the right things. And 12 months later, you're still stuck at $40,000 per month, which is less than $1 million per year. Now, what this tells me is that if all of the inputs were correct, you were doing all of the right things in terms of paid media, in terms of creative, in terms of structuring paid media, in terms of organic, in terms of website, in terms of consistently posting on socials, you had everything at least at 90% of the standard that it needs to be, and you were not cutting through to above $1 million per year, there is a fundamental issue with your product market fit. You are trying to fit a product with a specific target demographic and an image to a market that does not want it. The reality here is that men probably don't want tea to improve sleep. Now, I actually don't know if that's the case. I just completely made this up. But if this was the case and you went and put $100,000 in spend behind this over the course of a year and you still couldn't get anywhere close to being a $1 million brand, you probably don't have product market fit. Now, does this mean you just throw the entire brand out and you go, all right, I give up, let's try find another product and find a market fit? No. The approach that we take here, and this is the approach that sometimes is difficult for early stage founders to go through, but if you're working with us and you're seeing this video, or if you're working with another agency and you're seeing this video, what we then need to do, and we need to do it as quickly as possible, is identify, is this working or not? Let's do all the inputs. Let's test everything we can. Is it working? No. Okay, it's not working. The inputs that we're doing are not generating the desired outcome. However, these inputs do work for everyone else, but they're not working for you. All right, what we then need to do is we need to cast a way wider net. And instead of coming out here and let me move this around so you can see this. Instead of coming out here, and originally we were really refined in our messaging. We're only going to talk about improving sleep. And we're only going to talk to men. And we're just going to rely on statics on Facebook that are super professional. And maybe we'll put a little bit of UGC in. And this is what you want to stick to because that's the brand image that you want to sustain. Awesome. But if we then do that for 3 months, 4 months, and we don't see any tangible improvement in the business and we're doing all the right inputs, this isn't working, which means we need to go and cast a wider net. And we need to go, okay, what if we run some funny content? And this is really outside of the field, and that's the reason why I chose it, right? We're going professional statics. We're keeping the brand super professional around tea. Why don't we go and run some funny content and see if that resonates? Because maybe funny content will actually cut through with men. Maybe we go and we run some videos that are informational based. And so it's way more professional, informative video-based content. You might not say it's on brand, but what's on brand right now doesn't work. And so we have tried the quote-unquote on-brand stuff, and it hasn't generated the outcomes that are required, which means that the brand in its current state does not fit the market. The market is saying, no, we don't want this. Or at least the size of the market that you want to say yes is not saying yes. You might have some people that are resonating, but it's probably not at the efficiency that you want. And so you now need to start to figure out, well, what does the market want? And that's ultimately what you're trying to do as a sub $1 million brand. Honestly, that's what you're trying to do as a sub $5 million brand, is you're trying to go, what does the market actually want? I don't know. I'm going to come in here with something that I think I might want. Oh, that didn't work. Pivot, 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 pivot until, we figured it out. And the best way to figure this out is to survey your customers. Something almost no one does. And the people that do it, they never even look at the data anyway. And so if you take this away from this video and you actually do this, you're in the top 0.1% of e-commerce operators, because no one does this correctly, which is, okay, $1 million brand, we're stuck at $40K a month. We've been doing this for 10 months. That's $400,000 in revenue. Average cart value of a tea, I don't know, maybe $100. And so divide by 100, that means that we should have about 4,000 customers here. Maybe if we have a strong incentive, 250 of these people will actually fill out a survey. Well, fantastic. We now have 250 people that actually followed through and bought from us. Why did they buy? And you know what I can guarantee is that they probably didn't buy because they were fully encaptured by the fact that they wanted to improve their sleep and it was targeted at men. There is probably some information in here that is going to be unique and not obvious to you immediately. It might be that 170 of these people actually didn't even buy it for themselves. They bought it as a present. There might be a bunch of these people that didn't actually, so it was actually maybe their partner's buying it for their partner, okay? You might end up finding that people actually didn't care about the sleep component. They actually just liked the branding of the ads and they thought it looked like high quality tea. This meant nothing to them. It might be a million different factors as to why these people bought that wasn't with your original hypothesis as to what you would actually think the market would want. And so you should be using this somewhat $1 million stage to learn about your customers, learn why are they buying? What do they like about it? How can we run surveys here to figure this out and knuckle down and then change the brand? And that is the last step in this video, which is, okay, now we've gone through the phase. We've we've tested this tea, we've tested the angle to men, the angle of sleeping, it hasn't worked, the content hasn't worked, we've pivoted, we've tried different things, we've tried really outside of the box stuff, even though we kind of wanted to stay on brand, but we knew that on brand wasn't working. And then we finally figure out what actually works. And what works is that this is a great gifting product for women to buy. And they are buying it because their, let's call it their partners, have sleep latency, which means it takes them a long time to actually fall asleep. And so they were finding it to be a great product to be able to solve this issue and show that they care and they're actively trying to participate in helping this issue for their partner. And this was resonating best through content that was directed at gifting for women, for partners that have sleep issues. And the content was informational based and plus heavy PR. And so heavy relationships to PR and social proofing is what ended up working for this brand and building it. And so now you can see, you can already start to visualize what this website would look like, what the brand would look like, what the ads would look like for a product targeting this demographic. Incredibly different from what we started with. Improving Sleep for Men, completely different brand, completely different approach, probably different color palette, even in itself, in terms of these two different brands. But guess what? If you stuck with the approach up here and you went, no, we're going to make this work. We're just going to keep hammering and get this to work and fit the market. Okay, over a year, you might be able to somehow just hustle this up to 60K per month and crack into about 1 million. But while you're doing that, the brands that tried this for 2 months realized it wasn't working, did a pivot, started testing really out of the box stuff, both in terms of content and messaging, surveyed the customers that they did acquire, learned more about their end consumer, and then knuckled down and then completely started pivoting their entire strategy. Well, these guys go to 200K per month in the same time period. And then they actually have growth ahead of them because they've got product market fit. And they're not trying to just force a product into the market that doesn't actually want it. So I hope this was helpful in encapsulating this idea of the fact that if you don't have product market fit, it's because the market doesn't want your product. It's not the product isn't fitting to the market. And with most direct-to-consumer brands, it isn't novel products that are being introduced into the market in most instances. Most people aren't doing significant innovation at a product level in e-commerce. It's just the reality of most successful brands. Most successful brands are taking popular products that already exist and they're just building a brand around it that's associated with a very specific issue or a very specific market. So they're niching down effectively. And if that's the approach that you're taking, and it likely is, because that's the approach that 90 to 90%-ish of people are taking when they go into e-com, is sure, choose your brand, choose your hypothesis, choose what you think will work. And then if it doesn't work and you're using all of the inputs and you're working with a really strong paid media agency, or you really know what you're doing and you've had some consultations with some experts and they've gone, yeah, your inputs are fantastic and it's not generating desired outputs, well, this needs to change. You need to start widening your scope and testing new things. You need to survey your customers, get a better understanding for who actually wants this product, what your messaging should be, what should your website change to, what should your colors change to. And then once you understand who you're actually selling to, then you can start to decide on who you are as a brand. Because when you're doing 20K a month, 30K a month, harsh reality, you're not a brand. No one knows who you are. You're a drop in the ocean. Once you're doing 200K a month in Australia, okay, you're starting to become a brand. People probably start to know you. But even then, probably once you're doing about 500K a month, that you're well known within your particular niche and people will know you. And then for you to actually be like nationally known, you're going to have to go to at least 4 million a month, maybe $5 million a month. And so when you're only at the stage of 20K a month, 30K a month, I really wouldn't be too concerned about tarnishing brand image because you don't have a brand yet because you have not found product market fit. And you will never achieve the revenue thresholds that will turn you into a brand until you do the pivot and start to fit your product to what the market wants.